All right, Fox News alert. Donald Trump making a bold prediction when pressed on a potential Biden rematch. Watch.
Will you challenge him to regular debates, regardless of the concern about the moderators? I know that's always annoying, but I'll be happy to moderate one, by the way. Will you challenge him to a debate regularly on focused specific topics? In other words, so it's not a wide-ranging, just one debate on foreign policy.
Well, I'll do it right now on your show. I'll challenge him right now, and we can do you can do anybody you want. I don't think he's going to debate, though. I really don't think so.
OutKick host Tomi Lahren joins us now. So, Tommy, wide-ranging interview with the president, but this is the part that really got my attention. A lot of folks have been talking about revenge. What will Trump do? This is what the president had to say. Watch.
We're going to get together through success. When the country was at a level that we had the best employment numbers in history. Everything was good, and this country was coming together. Then we got hit with COVID, but this country came together. I don't care about the revenge thing. I know they usually use the word revenge. Will there be revenge? My revenge will be success.
What do you think, Tommy?
I love it. It's a great point to make. I think Americans, whether they like Donald Trump or not, whether they like his character, his performance, I think they liked their lives under Donald Trump. So on this campaign trail, he needs to reiterate that over and over and over again. Hey, listen, you might not like me. You never might like me, but you did like your life. And he has to lead with that. He has to remind people the policies. He has to remind people of what things cost in the grocery store, the gas prices. He has to remember that he ended endless wars. He didn't get us into any new wars. That's what he has to remind the American people, because his challenge is going to be bringing more voters into the fold. He's got diehard supporters. The base is still with him, which is quite obvious from the primaries we've seen so far. He needs to bring more people in, independents in, and that's the way he's going to do it, Lawrence.
I think, Tommy, you're talking about that unity message, and I think the reason why he's going there, because he's looked at these numbers. This is regarding Joe Biden. Do you have a favorable or unfavorable view of Biden among New York State voters? And 46% said that they have a favorable view. 50% say an unfavorable view. Donald Trump also talked about last night about going to the Bronx, going all across the country in places that would typically vote for a Democrat. But he says he has a shot. What do you think?
Well, I give him a lot of credit for showing up, because Republicans for a long time have had that problem of not showing up where they don't feel wanted or welcome. So he has to show up everywhere. You know, I think it's a little optimistic to say he might win states like New York or California. I think he should probably focus a little more on the swing states. But saying he's going to show up in places that might not always be friendly to him, that takes a lot of courage, a lot of guts, something our current president certainly doesn't have.
Especially, tell me, when there's been such a change of mood with everything that's happened with immigration. I'm seeing black and Hispanic voters that are just frustrated with the Democratic Party. I'm not saying that they're going to vote for Donald Trump, but a lot of them may stay home. Biden was pressed about a plan B. Now, you used to live in California. This is what the president had to say while the helicopter was still going. Watch.
Mr. President, good afternoon, sir. You're going to California. Is this about coming up with a plan B for 2024? Does Gavin need to stand by?
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm looking at you. We're looking at you.
Sir, Nikki
hey,
Haley or Donald
whoa.
Tommy?
Well, he didn't directly answer the question,
That's
which
right.
I thought was somewhat interesting. But I'd also say Gavin has been waiting in the wings for several months now. I would say maybe even over a year at this point, running a parallel and shadow campaign. And I think it's also a real shot to the heart for Kamala Harris that reporters aren't referring to her as Plan B. They're looking at Governor Gavin Newsom and the things he's been doing to attempt to at least appear like he's cleaning up the state of California. That tells me that come convention time, there's going to be a major shakeup. And I do believe it's going to be California Governor Gavin Newsom.
You know, everybody's talking about what's happening in the Republican Party, in the disarray. I think they should be more focused of what's happening in the Democratic Party. Not sure Joe's going to make it. Tommy, thanks so much for getting up.
Thanks so much, Lawrence. Good to see you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.